Wait, we got a cheers for our intro.
Oh yeah. I feel like a Korean celebrity with my clear water bottle.
You know, no advertisement.
Cheers.
Cheers. You know, it was so funny because I showed one of my friends like the video.
Yeah.
And she was like, do you guys like drink all the time when you film? And I was like, she's sober. We've been drinking water out of her wine glass.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because two of my friends literally commented. They were like, the water in the glass is sending me. And I was like,
yeah.
They think it's so funny. I don't know why.
No, yeah, because people think it's like actual alcohol and we're like getting tipsy and talking, but we're sober.
Straight vodka. Yeah. That's the energy that we bring.
Just sober, alcoholic energy.
We are at a change of venue again. We are outside because the lounge is currently occupied. They're having a party in there. I had a little bit of a verbal tussle with the guy. But since we're outside, it's a little chilly, which is why
we're like bundled up and cold.
Yeah. I would like to share my blanket with you.
It's okay, I got my jacket for today.
You look really cute.
Thank you.
So today's episode, we kind of want to talk about travel tips because we are well-versed travelers.
Traveled girls.
Yeah, at the very least, we're travel lovers.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the reasons we connected so well.
Yeah, that's when we got like really close, I feel, right?
Yeah, 5 days together in the same room.
It was
in another country.
It was so funny because the way the Barcelona trip happened, I was in New York City for a work trip and I got Panda Express because I love Panda Express. And the fortune cookie was like, I see international travel in your future. And that's why I looked at Google Flights and I saw the Barcelona tickets and then I posted it on my close friend's story.
Guess how much those flights were. It's crazy.
Yeah, leave a comment what you guess it was. We'll tell you, but she was the only one who replied to my story and was like, I'm down. And
I was the only one?
I thought you were like kidding too because I just posted on my story. Like I would have gone alone, but like she replied and she's like, I'm down. Let's. And then she wasn't like that girl that's like, I'm down and never talks. She was like, when are we booking this? So I was like, oh my goodness. And that's how it all started.
Kind of makes me sound a little crazy. Like, who the hell is like, yeah, I'm going with you on this trip that you posted on your story. But like what I was thinking before that happened was like, so it happened like right before my birthday. And
right.
I'm a big like birthday month girl.
She is.
The whole month needs to be celebrated. And it's so hard to do that, and like nobody's gonna hype you up except for yourself. So like I was like trying to figure out like how I can like make my birthday month like extra, and I really wanted to travel. So I was asking all my friends, do you want to travel? Do you want to travel? You want to go somewhere? Let's go to Miami. Like in the US, I don't care.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, I don't know, I'm busy, blah 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 blah. So it was like fate, and then you posted that and I was like, I'm down.
I had no idea that was the case.
That was why I was already like travel fever,
in the mood.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was like
I just thought you were like kind of crazy and unhinged, and I was like, let's do it. Because at that time we were good friends, but like not close. Like we weren't seeing each other often. Like I feel like more like events we would see each other.
Yeah.
But after that, it was like just one of those trips that like bond. Like nobody will ever know what it's like except us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Should we go into just like our Barcelona trip, like story time?
I feel
for
like
entertainment, but also
maybe like things we kind of. Like I want to talk about personally like how compatible we were.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should talk about that stuff because I'm thinking like the people that would want to see this episode are people that want to like know tips, you know, on how to travel well, find their travel people, and just like when we tell our travel stories, like how you can have your own adventures too. Like, so And just like prefacing in background,
Yeah.
I am an introvert. That's like the crazy thing.
Which I don't believe, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like with me, she's like crazy, so I don't see it, but she is in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, in like group settings or like crowded areas or just like more than 2 people, I get introverted. So like it's like hard for me to meet new people just like by myself. And like it's not just like extroverted people. This episode is for introverted people and extroverted people. That's my point. You can do it too, and I'll teach you how. But
Yeah. So one of my friends actually had a really bad group trip experience. And so that made me think like how grateful that we clicked, because I feel like everyone's like, you know, like if you make it out of the trip, you know, then you guys are real friends. Because, you know, I feel like it's like a test almost.
we slept in the same room.
Which I like loved. I was like, Beatrice, I was like, after the 5 days, I was like, I got used to this.
Yeah.
I'm too like sad to be alone. And she was like, it's fine. 5 days was enough. But I was like, I love this.
Re-energize. That's how you know I'm an introvert. Because like I don't get energy from outside. I gotta recharge at home, like go to sleep.
I personally love seeing her face every morning and every night. Her beautiful face.
I love it too. The 5 days was good.
I was like, I never want this to end.
It was so fun, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I learned a lot from you on that trip too, like on traveling, because when I travel, I never did any group or tour type of things. And when we first met up to like kind of have a itinerary plan and like talked about, like one thing about Beatrice, she's so communicative. Like she will definitely just like put it out there so you know what to expect. Whereas I feel like, you know, some people might be like, oh, like I have one idea and I might not say it, so it kind of get confusing.
Oh yeah.
But she asked me if I wanted to do this like paella making class, and I didn't even know what paella was, and it was like I think like $70, right? So it was like a little bit up there, so pricey. I wasn't sure, but then
which I understood.
Yeah, but then I was like, you know what, like we're going on a trip, like why not? And it was like her birthday weekend, so I was like, you know what, like let's try it.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best experiences I ever had.
Yay.
Yeah.
And we had paella on that trip like 5 times. That was like your favorite, right? The one we made.
Yeah. I kept asking her to get paella.
Yeah, that's it. And you don't need to do like expensive activities like that, but I kind of thought it was like good value because you hit dinner anyway, and then you get unlimited sangria and a cheese board.
Oh yeah.
And I really wanted to kind of get the vibe of like the local environment and like talk to local people. And the chef, he was local, so like we got recommendations on where to eat, where to go, and we met other people in the class. We didn't meet up with them, but we could have, because they asked us if we wanted to, so it felt like good value to me, which is why I suggested it. But
we like
went,
exactly, like we didn't go out with them because we wanted like our own side quest. But we had the option to, because they were really nice, and like I feel like the group, there were other Americans and like a couple other Europeans, and like we all just kind of really got along. We were having like a photo shoot while the paella was cooking. It was just like a very fun time. It was a good way to start the night because it was like a Friday night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then we went on our own little adventures.
Here in my mouth. Okay. And a part of it was also like we went to like the local fish market and picked out.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the iconic strawberry pick, if you want to insert.
I need to do one every year at every trip that we go to, so that we have like a sequential thing going on.
So that was really nice. And then she also wanted to go see some like museums.
I did. I missed one. I wanted to go to the Picasso Museum. It was like popular and well recommended. I was actually gonna go on my own.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, I feel like when most people are traveling together, you kind of have like you guys always have to be together, and that's like the mentality I was going on. But she asked me, and I was like, I hesitated for a second. She's like, oh, I can go alone. And I was like, oh, really? And it wasn't like a passive aggressive thing. She was genuinely like, I can go on like alone. So I was like, oh, wow, you know? So it kind of gave me a bit more comfortability, like speaking up, you know what I mean? Like being like, oh, okay, like I can think of things I want to do alone too if I wanted to, you know?
Yeah. Because I mean, we're not the same person. We have different interests. The plan was for me to go in the morning, but we were up a little late the night before, so we
went to sleep in the morning.
I was like, I can't
It didn't happen, but I think the memory was like well worth it, you know?
Yes, it was.
So yeah, that was like a really good thing. I think personally, when going traveling with your friends, like you have to be compatible. Yeah, like I feel like two personalities that are like, you guys could be the bestest friends, but on traveling, I just think things are so different, especially when like you're in a foreign country.
So true.
And personally, I kind of felt like I was like the la girl. Like, I don't know.
I didn't realize that until you told me that later. I didn't think you were the la girl.
Being with Beatrice, I kind of like, this is like a weird thing, but like, you know when you're with your boyfriend and you can turn your brain off?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, she was just like, I don't know, she was like, oh, I have these places picked out for dinner. This is how we get there. Like, I don't know, very, just, I could turn off my brain, so that was nice. Yeah.
I didn't feel that in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was we were like, I thought we were just like kind of half and half. So like I didn't feel that.
Well, I'm glad then.
But compatibility in food is so important.
Oh my goodness,
we have similar tastes.
We have very, very similar tastes.
Yeah.
All of the food we had in Barcelona was literally amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not sure if like every friendship like does this, but like we always shared our food.
Yes.
I think every time we've traveled, I think every time we eat, actually, we kind of just share our food, which is like
also Korean, and it's very Korean.
Yeah, to just kind of like have banchan and a bunch of sharing dishes. So that was good. Tips on how to meet people. I feel like, so the tour group was one of them.
Yeah, the paella making.
Yeah, I feel like if you're introverted, like that might be helpful.
It helps, yes.
Because like you're kind of forced with a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
So I know there's like a bunch of like different groups. Like I've looked up like bar hopping groups, like things like that. The way we kind of people were like, I know. Should we talk about like Hinge?
Yeah. So like Hinge is a good resource for meeting people abroad, and it can be purely like tourist guidey.
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding.
Like not like anything, you know, what you might. I know Hinge is like a dating app,
right?
But like I don't know. I guess we kind of used it just as like
to meet locals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what other place you can kind of easily meet locals.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like you can place yourself there, and like I would just be like, what restaurants do you recommend, you know? And then when they're like want to meet up, I would just like ghost them, you know?
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know if it's because they know that we're only there for a short time, or because we're exotic like from another country, and they're like intrigued by that. We get a lot of replies to the like show me around, like, or
like just like tell us like what's like there to do,
recommendations.
So I feel like that's like a pretty easy way where like there's no contact really. And then on the plane ride, I asked the person right next to me.
Oh my gosh, this is how you know that Ruby is an extrovert, because I saw this happening and I wasn't even part of the conversation, and I was just like
It's like, I don't know her.
Yeah. No, not that. I was just scared that. I think you said that I was your friend, but I was scared if I turned in that direction, I'd be part of the conversation. And I was like, I have to be on this plane for like, I don't remember how many hours, 4 hours?
Yeah.
I can't, I don't know this person. I don't know the random stranger. Like, I was scared.
But yeah, on the plane ride, I was just like, hey, like, it's our first time in Barcelona. I think my mentality, when I board a plane is like, I will never see these people again. Like, I have like no thoughts on like, no, they have a room and they have to come outside.
I know. We'll talk about it later.
My mentality is just like, because I personally think I'm pretty introverted too.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when I'm on like travel mode, I'm just like, I will never meet these people again. So that's why I feel like.
So you're like, you're saying that you're more like willing to go out of your way to connect with people because you're like, oh, I'm not gonna see this person again. Like, let me just see like what they have to recommend to us and stuff like that.
Exactly, which is why I'm super interested in doing like a New York travel vlog to see like how we would be, because I don't know, just for me, like when you're in, I think they say like Americans are friendly, you know, but then I feel like for me, Europeans have been so friendly.
They're way friendlier, and it's like a genuine friendliness.
Yeah.
It's not a like small talk friendliness.
Yeah. So I personally, like, I've never had trouble making friends. I also like to like, I like restaurants, like, you know, ask the waiter or waitresses, like, I think locals is really the key, right? Like getting to know the locals. So I think for me, when I was traveling with my like friend to Europe for the first time, like this was like my first time in Europe and I had like no idea what to expect, but I think it was helpful because I was in Rome too, where they're like extra friendly, you know? I feel like the waiters and waitresses were like super talkative. Paris, they weren't as friendly.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but I still made the effort to kind of be like, hey, like what is there to do around here? And once I kind of like tried, they weren't like, oh my gosh, they're so nice, but they were like really into like helping out. So being a foreigner, I think, has its perks in this sense, especially if you're like a pretty girl foreigner. Which I think we have to acknowledge, honestly, because I don't want to, I'm just acknowledging it. That's all I'm gonna say, just in case we get hate comment, I don't think I'm like that pretty. I think I'm okay.
I think she's so pretty.
I think she's so pretty. I think she's beautiful, but I think it was just like me being a nice person.
That too.
Because they also probably
your
aren't
energy.
I think I'm like super bubbly, and like I feel like but also like I wouldn't get discouraged if like someone was like shutting you down, because like that's happened to me too.
It's
and
normal.
I'm like, oh, okay. But then I just, you know, like that like don't take it personal thing type of mentality. In America,
it's not personal.
I take it 100% personal. But when I'm in Europe, I'm like, how can I take it personal when this person genuinely does not know me? You know what I mean?
I see. Not like they know you more here, though.
I don't know how it works in my brain, but like that's the way I kind of like do it.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's because like, because you're more willing to put yourself out there, that also means the chances of rejection is higher, and maybe you anticipate that. Maybe. So that's why you feel like less offended. If you are rejected.
I also think there's a part of me that views myself like, here I'm an American, like I'm like everyone else, you know? But then in Europe, I'm like clearly a foreigner, clearly a tourist, you know?
Oh, I see, because people can see that you're clearly American.
So I feel like if they're mean to me, then they
hate Americans.
They just don't like tourists, or they don't like Americans, which I'm like, okay, they don't hate me, they just hate what I represent. You know what I mean?
Or it could be because you're Asian.
But it's not about me. I don't know if this makes sense.
I'd rather be discriminated against.
It's not like who I am as a person, not my soul.
I've never thought of it like that.
I don't know how my brain works sometimes,
I'd
but
be
it's
more offended if it was that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it was because I'm American, I'd be like, fuck you. I don't like America either. Like, why are you coming for me?
Be like, I'm part of you guys. Like,
yeah.
yeah. But I want to ask you, like, because so we also went to London and
Yeah.
you were alone. So I met up with her a couple of days after.
Right.
And we've both done like solo trips on our own. So I wanted to ask you like how your solo trips have also.
Is it the 2 days you're talking about before you came?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the most solo that I've been.
Okay.
I hated it.
Oh, really?
It was much better when you were there. But it's because I'm an introvert. I did make the most of it though. I still loved London, and I will say I did get to see more of it before you came.
Yeah, you saw like a lot.
I did.
Yeah.
Because I did the touristy stuff before you arrived.
Right.
So there were pros and cons. Con, Ruby wasn't there. Pro, I did get to see more of London. I did the tours.
Yeah.
It did the night tour on the double-decker bus. And I literally saw everything in London.
Yeah.
So when we were walking around the rest of the days,
Yeah.
I pointed out to you some of the things that I saw.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. I feel like she
learned.
was my tour guide at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. The only thing is that I wish I kind of sat in the back of the bus so that I could like take pictures in peace.
Okay.
I thought I sat in the back, and then a family sat further back.
Oh.
And it was like 3 of them, and I was trying to take a photo, but you know when you're behind someone and they're trying to take a photo, it's not like you're judging them necessarily, but your eyes naturally go to them.
Yeah.
You're just like looking at them taking a photo. I could feel that on me.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little Akko Taco about taking photos.
Akko Taco, I like that. Okay.
So I just did more like landscape videos of London. And then I did push myself to eat out by myself.
Because you need to survive, yes?
I do, but also one of the things that we did for London was we booked a hostel that was the type of hostel you book thinking we're only gonna sleep here.
It was, yeah.
We're not gonna hang out here.
Yeah.
It was that type of hostel, and I did not want to bring back food to that place because it was just so like
small and
a little bit depressing because the room wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Our Barcelona place was nice.
Oh yeah, it had a balcony.
Yeah, it was a balcony, and it was cheaper than London. So I pushed myself to eat outside, and like a little tip trick. I went to it's like a tip if you're a little bit anxious and introverted, so you don't have to feel as anxious going out. I went to an udon bar because it was like a bar. So you were facing the bar.
Okay.
So if you go to a restaurant and you feel anxious, you don't want to just sit at a table by yourself.
That's actually so helpful, and I would have never thought of that. Like, I would have never thought of that actually.
Yeah. So everyone's looking at the bar. They don't know who's with who. Like, they can't tell you're by yourself. And it just felt more comfortable for me to be there. That was like something. And then I also went to a pasta place, and it was like 2-seater.
Okay.
This was a little more like anxiety driving for me because there were like big tables surrounding the room on the outskirts, and then in the middle there were like 2-person tables.
Okay.
Just in the middle. So like I was like at a 2-person table, like in like the middle by myself. Right? Like
you jumped into like the deep end of it.
Yeah. And I just kind of went because the restaurant is highly rated. I didn't really like look inside, blah blah blah. And I was not sure which way I should be facing because the one way I'm facing, like the entrance.
Yeah.
So every person that goes into the door, I just make eye contact. I just like by myself.
You're like, welcome. Do you guys want to sit?
Yeah.
You're like giving them puppy dog eyes. Like,
they're gonna be like, this poor girl. Like, I don't want to be taking pity.
Maybe that's a tactic, you know? Like,
what are they gonna do? Like, throw a coin at me?
Could have had some sign, maybe. Like, Like, I'd be like, or like, hi, like pretend to know them and
No.
be like, oh my gosh, wait, are you not?
What if they ignore me? Like, it's even more embarrassing. And like then my waiter would know I just got snubbed. Like, and then if I sat on the other side, I'm literally facing like everybody else because it's like. Anyway, so I chose to face the door.
Yeah.
And my waiter was crazy nice, and I don't know if it was because he was British.
British people are so nice.
So nice.
So nice.
Or if it was because I was by myself, but I don't think that was it, because I heard him striking a conversation with other like tables and like full on trying to have dialogue, and he did that with me, and I try to pretend like I wasn't by myself. Like not feel self-conscious. Yeah. He was so nice. He like gave me places that I could go out for after, and it helped that he was tall and very, very cute.
He was what?
He was very, very cute. He was so tall and so cute. And I'm not kidding, I was by myself, and yet the thought still crossed my mind to ask for his number.
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Dang.
But you totally could in that scenario.
Yeah.
100%.
Would you have done it if I was there? Do you think like you'd have more court? No.
No. The reason why is because we're not there that long. I know I'm not gonna meet up with this dude.
That's true. That's true.
The only reason that Ruby and I ever like talk to people is just to like have them like show us around, or
like recommendations,
right, and
that's
like
true.
have fun, but it's never
because it's like we're on a friend trip, so it's like the focus is on like making memories that we'll always forever remember. But that's interesting that like eating was such a huge part of it. It's really cold here, but you also got like, she recommended like the Jack the Ripper tour, which was one of my favorite parts, and you got that recommendation from the bus guy.
I think I looked that one up on the internet.
Really? I feel like you told me you were like, somebody recommended it to me.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I got a recommendation from it earlier in the trip. Yeah, you're right.
And that was like one of the highlights. So like if she didn't go on the bus tour, she would have never known about that.
Yeah,
you know?
true.
Yeah. So I feel like going on those tours, or even on a solo trip, is like pretty worth it.
They're so worth it.
Yeah.
You gotta learn about like the place that you're visiting, otherwise like why are you in another place, you know what I mean? Why don't you just have fun back at home? I don't know.
Exactly, because like I felt like for this trip we didn't have that much planned per se, like compared to the Barcelona one, but like I still felt like we did a lot.
We did.
I was there for like I think 3 full days, but I felt like we did so much.
We did.
But you know the eating part actually, so I went to Miami by myself, and that was my first ever solo trip, and there was a part of it that was like so peaceful, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm so proud of myself, but then at the same time I do remember I did eat alone at night, but that was only because I was like very scared. I was gonna go to this like dance bar, like where there's like performers on stage, like but right before that happened, I went into the Walgreens across my hotel, and this guy walked in with like a rifle holder and at the time I thought it was a rifle, and he was just like pretending to like aim it up, and so I got so scared. That's my first crazy. Night in, and that just so scared me that
that's USA for you.
I bought a cup of ramen and I ate in my room that night, but during the daytime I like tried to go out as much as possible. There were some like good things, so I was like, nobody knows me, like, you know, but then at the same time I was like, oh my god, I'm all alone, nobody knows me if something happens. But so that was my Miami experience, where I had a lot of fun kind of doing things on my own, but at the same time, like when I was at the beach and like I wish somebody was like watching my stuff, or you know, little things where I feel like I do miss.
I'm not watching your stuff. I'm in the water with you.
Or like if nobody was watching our stuff, like we would lose it together, you know what I mean?
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was more just so safety aspect for me when I was there. And I guess like talking, I was on FaceTime a lot because I was just like, I need human interaction.
Yeah.
But when I was in Rome by myself, I loved it so much because I was like picking up people off the street, which is like, I don't know why I did that, but it worked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this solo trip to Europe, I just had like a whole different experience where it was like amazing because I first arrived in Iceland, and I went to the Blue Lagoon. I had like a day, like maybe like an 8-hour layover.
Blue Lagoon is like the perfect place to do a solo
because you
trip.
can like shower there too, so it was like a nice refresh. It was like a spa. There were so many Americans that were there from like a cruise ship, and even though I was alone, like I was like talking to all these like elderly people, and they were just like, I think they just saw me alone and they wanted to like talk to me, so they were like taking my pictures. Like it was all blurry because but that was really nice. And then in Rome, there's so many tourists, you know, and you can spot the tourists. So I was walking to the Trevi, and I just noticed this guy like was walking the same direction, and I just kind of followed him. And I stood right next to him. This sounds so stalker. But I was like, do you want me to take your picture?
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, I'll take your picture.
Yeah.
And then I was like, are you here on vacation? And he was like, yeah. And then he barely spoke any English. So we kind of talked over Google Translate. But I was like, I'm here alone too. Do you want to grab dinner? And then he was like, okay. But it was so funny because he's like,
I love that.
Yeah, he was like, I just have one thing to do. He was giving his number to the ice cream man, and he asked me to come with him. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like he's fun, you know?
Yeah.
But on the way, like we were trying to figure out how to get to the restaurant because we were both like tourists, and then we were waiting for the bus, and I just like asked the girl that was waiting, like, hey, are you also waiting for the bus?
Right.
And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, we're like here as tourists. And she's like, oh, I just recently moved to Rome, so I don't really know the place. And I was like, do you want to grab dinner with us? And she said yes. And so we just hung out for the whole night, and it was so like, I don't know, it was like kind of wild that I met them that way. But I still have
obviously you felt safe asking them. Like you could tell, right?
Yeah.
And it was really smart that you looped in another person. So it was 3 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart. Be adventurous, but be smart. Like that's so smart.
For sure. I was just like out in public, and like I didn't drink, or I was just like, it would be nice to like have a dinner with someone.
Yeah.
So like that's all we really did. So that was another way.
Wow.
Yeah. On the plane, I was wearing a Lululemon belt bag because she wore one for a Barcelona trip, and it was super helpful. And the girl next to me, I was like FaceTiming, and she like heard me speaking English, and then like during almost like the end of the flight, she was like, cute bag. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then we just started talking. I was like, oh, like, are you from here? And then she gave me a ride to my hotel.
You're kidding.
No, like we talked the whole flight. And I feel like a lot of these might not be the safest, like looking back.
But to be honest, you can still do that with safety precautions. Like share your location with like somebody else.
Yeah.
You know? And like do your thing.
Yeah. It was like she just like I was just like asking her like, hey, do you know how to get to the city? Because like Reykjavik is pretty pricey.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'm going into the city, like I can drop you on the way. And like she had another friend with her that was picking her up, so like they were literally like 2 girls like that were like what, 21 I think. We were like all around the same age, and she just dropped me off, and then the next day we went thrifting. So
wow, I love that.
Yeah, I feel like you just kind of like gotta be like nice,
right,
and inviting,
open.
Open, like how that waiter was just like, you know, giving you recommendations and stuff. Like I feel like if you're like showing that you're open to a chat, they will.
Yes. Yeah. Because you're not the only one, you know, in the country that wants to meet new people and have fun. I also think listening to this that you have good intuition of reading people.
Yeah.
And that helps you. And the only reason I'm saying this is because if you know you have bad intuition, then maybe this is not the move for you.
Yeah.
But if you know that you do have good intuition of reading people, then and I just say that out of safety aspect.
No, for sure. Like, I don't think every time I travel I would do this. It kind of was like, even looking back for me, I was like, it was crazy how it all naturally happened, you know? I wasn't like planning on any of this, but it just kind of worked out. So I was just like, I felt like God was just like, because I was really nervous to go to Europe alone because it's like a foreign country.
Right.
And I was like super scared at the time. And I just really felt like, I'm like religious, so I just felt like God was like sending people my way almost to like not make me feel so alone.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So that was how it was for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think solo travel is something that I want to explore more.
Yeah.
There's someone that I've been watching on Instagram with her solo travels. I don't remember her name, but she's big on solo travel. She recently went to Switzerland by herself. And from what I can tell, she actually has a lot of social anxiety.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because she has such an outgoing personality, right?
Outgoing, but she seems to say that she has a lot of anxiety as well. So it seems like she pushes herself to be outgoing. I'm not sure, but I would love to pick her brain about solo travel and things like that. I believe her handle is VIALY, something like that. But she's around our age, I believe, too. So, but anyway, oh my god, okay, earlier
rant session, yes, let it out.
We need to talk shit because these people in my building, so we have 2 lounges, right? And we filmed in one of the lounges before, but there's 2 of them and they only reserved one. You have to pay to reserve the lounge. They only paid for one, but they're like, no, we have both lounges. So they kicked us out of both. It is freezing out here, excuse me. You're not the only one that lives in the building. And I like got into a verbal tussle with the guy. I was like, that is so rude. Like, you're not the only person who lives here. If you want to reserve both spaces, pay for both spaces. Like, hello, can you not afford it? Like, living in this building, are you kidding me? So it's just like discourteous. So we're out here, right? And it's beautiful, so it's nice in that way. But then these people come outside.
I don't know if you heard any of the chitter chatter, but
so it's not like that big a deal, but I was like, I'm a little sensitive, so anyway.
I feel like compared to last week's one, you were like very
I'm still, you know, but we're cold.
It is freezing and like the sun is gone, like completely gone.
Yeah, I kind of want to do an episode on just starting a podcast, how to do a podcast, start one, and just, it is so hard. You think so being hard. An influencer is easy? We're not even real influencers. We're just like filming an hour.
We're just filming us talking, really.
And it's hard.
But yeah, there is when we first tried starting this, I didn't think about all the little details. Nuances. Like Beatrice thought so much more into it, and it's like there's so many things like you like research
little things.
Honestly, I like this outdoor thing.
Should we do this more in the summer?
I like this. I mean, I will have to see it on camera,
right?
But
I think we should do both, like, because we're in public space, so there's more likelihood like one or the other is like taken up, so we should do both. Either or.
Okay,
bye bye.